Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we are rediving deep into one of the most compelling and thought-provoking stories from the book of Genesis, the tale of two brothers, Jacob and Esau, and a birthright sold for a bowl of stew. It's a story about family dynamics, destiny, and the choices we make when we're at our most vulnerable. Let's set the scene. Our story begins with Isaac, the long-awaited son of Abraham. Isaac is now 60 years old. For 20 long years, he and his wife Rebekah had prayed for a child. Finally, their prayers are answered, but it's not a simple pregnancy. Rebekah feels a constant struggle within her, a turmoil so intense that she cries out, "Why is this happening to me?" Seeking answers, she turns to the Lord, who gives her a prophecy that will shape the destiny of nations. He tells her, "Two nations are in your womb, and two peoples will be separated from within you. One people will be stronger than the other, and the older will serve the younger." Imagine hearing that. Before they are even born, a divine hierarchy is declared. The natural order, where the firstborn holds preeminence, is being turned on its head. When the time comes, Rebekah gives birth to twins. The first to emerge is reddish and covered in hair, so they name him Esau, which sounds like the Hebrew word for hairy. Then the second baby appears, his tiny hand grasping Esau's heel. This act earns him the name Jacob, which means he who grasps the heel, or, more figuratively, he who supplants. From their very first moments, their names foreshadow the conflict to come. As the boys grow up, their differences become even more pronounced. Esau becomes a man of the outdoors, a rugged, skilled hunter. He's impulsive, living in the moment, driven by his physical appetites. He's his father's favorite. Isaac, a man who enjoys his comforts, loves the taste of the wild game Esau brings home. Jacob, on the other hand, is described as an even-tempered man, living intense. This doesn't mean he was weak. It suggests he was more thoughtful, introspective, and perhaps strategic. He was a homebody, and he was his mother's favorite. Rebekah, who remembered the prophecy given to her, likely saw Jacob as the instrument of that divine plan. So right away, we have a family divided by favoritism, a recipe for trouble in any household. Now we arrive at the pivotal moment of our story. One day, Jacob is at home, cooking a fragrant stew of red lentils. It's a simple, nourishing meal. Just then, Esau stumbles in from the fields. He's been out hunting, probably with no success, and he is utterly exhausted and famished.
Ow.
The aroma of the stew hits him, and his hunger consumes all other thoughts. He says to Jacob, "Quick, let me have some of that red stuff. I'm starving." Notice he doesn't even call it stew. He just points and says that red stuff. This highlights how consumed he is by his immediate physical need. He's operating purely on instinct. Jacob sees his opportunity. He doesn't just give his brother the food. He replies with a startling proposition. "First, sell me your birthright." Now let's pause and understand what the birthright actually was. In that culture, the birthright was a huge deal. It wasn't just a symbolic title. Firstborn son was entitled to a double portion of the father's inheritance, and more importantly, he would inherit the spiritual leadership of the family. For this particular family, birthright included the covenant promises God had made to Abraham and Isaac, promises of land, numerous descendants, and a special relationship with God. This was the spiritual legacy of an entire people. Esau's response is incredibly revealing. "Look," he says, "I am about to die. What good is the birthright to me?" Is he really about to die from hunger? It's highly unlikely. He's being dramatic, exaggerating his condition to justify his desire. In his mind, the long-term, abstract promise of the birthright is worthless compared to the immediate, tangible satisfaction of a hot meal. He completely devalues his future inheritance for a moment of present comfort. Jacob, however, is relentless. He understands the gravity of what he is asking. He says, "Swear an oath to me now." He wants to make it official, to bind Esau to his word with a sacred vow. And Esau, without a second thought, swears the oath. He formally and legally trades his invaluable birthright for a temporary fix. Jacob then gives Esau bread and the lentil stew. The transaction is complete. Esau eats, drinks, gets up, and leaves. The scripture ends this section with a powerful and sobering statement. So Esau despised his birthright. He didn't just neglect it or forget it, he actively despised it, held it in contempt. In that moment of hunger, he saw his incredible inheritance as nothing more than an obstacle to getting what he wanted right now. This story raises so many questions. Who was more in the wrong? Was it Jacob for cunningly exploiting his brother's weakness? Or was it Esau for treating his sacred inheritance with such carelessness and disdain? The text seems to place the greater fault on Esau. While Jacob's methods were deceptive and opportunistic, he, unlike his brother, actually valued the birthright. He understood its spiritual significance and wanted it desperately. Esau, the one who was entitled to it by birth, treated it like trash. He was a man ruled by his passions, unable to see beyond his immediate gratification. This ancient story speaks so powerfully to our modern lives. How often do we trade something of lasting value for a moment of fleeting pleasure? Might trade our long-term health for the instant gratification of junk food, our financial security for an impulse purchase, or our integrity for a shortcut to success. Esau's mistake was prioritizing the urgent over the important. His hunger felt urgent, but his birthright was important. He failed to see the difference. He represents the part of us that is tempted to sacrifice our future potential for immediate comfort. Jacob, while flawed, represents the part of us that desires the things that truly matter, even if we sometimes go about getting them in the wrong way. The story challenges us to reflect. What is our bowl of stew? What are the temporary comforts or pleasures that we are tempted to prioritize over our long-term goals, our values, our spiritual well-being? It's a call to examine what we truly value. Do we value the things that are eternal and significant? Or are we like Esau, easily swayed by the red stuff of the moment? This story isn't just about two brothers from thousands of years ago. It's about the daily choices we all face between the temporary and the eternal, between satisfying our immediate cravings and investing in a future of purpose and promise. What do you think? Was Jacob's action justified, or was Esau's carelessness the greater sin? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. It's a complex moral dilemma, and I'd love to hear your perspective. Thank you so much for joining me today for this deep dive. If you found this story as fascinating as I do, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. We're all on a journey of learning and discovery together, and I'm so glad you're a part of it. See you in the next video.